Afternoon, everyone. It's Nicola Cairncross here, and today I'm coming to you from Sunderland. Well, I'm not really. I'm coming from Shoreham, but I'm going to be talking to Wendy from Sunderland. And the reason I think this is going to be a really good video is because Wendy runs a real life business. She runs a fabulous cafe in the heart of the city centre in Sunderland, and it's called Wendy's Place. And she obviously loves it very much, and everything is home cooked, and it's all cooked from fresh ingredients. As Wendy says, we're famous for our pies. And I can tell you, I've had a good look round her Instagram account and her website, and the pies do look fantastic. But Wendy is in the position, like lots of small business owners, especially in retail right now, where she's working too hard and she's not got enough staff and she can't focus on being the business owner. She has to be the technician, as they call it in E-Myth terms, where she's actually in there cooking, serving, making pies, washing up, doing all that stuff. She's got one full-time helper. Her partner helps her in the business as well, and she's got an occasional volunteer. What she really needs is to have someone cooking full-time, so that doesn't fall on her, someone serving full-time, and then someone washing up behind the scenes and making sure it's all cleaned up for the next shift. But obviously Wendy is tired. She's a little bit fed up. She doesn't want to give up the business, not by a long chalk, but she wants to know how it can make more money for her. So we have a great conversation about that. We're trying to cram it into 15 minutes, but as you'll see, we go over a bit. But if I do say so myself, I come up with some stonking good ideas for her. And so I'm going to go straight into the interview now, and we're probably going to work together on an ongoing basis because there's definitely some sort of synergy there. And I really hope you enjoy the interview. Wendy's a bit shy, so I've put her website up instead of Wendy's face, but it is her genuine voice. Let's see what you think of this. 15 minutes isn't a long time. Let me just rattle through what's going to happen. I want to find out what your goal for this session is. I want your goal for your business. I need to know. I want to know your biggest issue right now. I want to know a few quick fire questions like staff, turnover, profit. I've had a look at your website. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've got a fantastic idea for how you can increase business if that's what you want to do. And I've also got a few resources for you. So how does that sound?
Brilliant.
Okay. So what's your goal for this session then, Wendy?
My goal is to, I want to like a mentor. And I think you're going to be the right person because even though you don't know me, I know of you.
Let's just tell everyone quickly, if should we decide to make this public, because it might bring you some customers, of course. And if we don't talk about anything too personal, just tell me literally in 2 or 3 sentences what your business is, when you started it, what your dreams were for it.
But when I start, basically the reason I wanted to work for myself was because I realised I couldn't work for anybody after I'd had a stint in the prison service.
Oh, what is that? Oh gosh, okay.
I'd worked there for a few years, transferred from probation service to the prison service. I've been at Holland, I've worked there, I've had a big bar restaurant over there. And basically I've always been comfortable working for myself.
It's a lovely cafe called Wendy's Place, and it's in Sutherland. So whereabouts are you?
I'm bang in the city centre. You wouldn't think it, but it's dying, man. The city, you know what I mean? It's like there's renovations going on all over the place.
Yeah,
we've got all these lovely properties being turned into student accommodation now.
Okay. Well, you think that they would want a cafe, especially one that sells mince pies like yours, because I love the look of that. That's for sure.
I know. Oh well, everything's homemade. Yeah. Everything's homemade. Everything's beautiful. Yeah.
All right. So what was your goal when you started the business, and what's your goal for the business now?
Well, my goal was to be self-sufficient to look after the community for homemade food and that. Now it's changed a little bit because it doesn't work anymore. There's not enough customers coming in for that sort of thing. They want to go for trendy stuff now, like trendy foods like wraps and stuff like that.
If I could wave a magic wand, Wendy, and bring you all the customers you could handle next week, how would you feel about the business then?
I suppose I think I feel better about it.
Okay.
I feel it just gets you down. You sort of like fall out of love for it. You know what I mean?
Retail's tough. It really is, and it's especially tough when you believe, rightly or wrongly, that your city's dying and that your niche is dying and that your neighbourhood is not going to be the kind of thing people that want your food. Although I would beg to argue that all of those could be right or wrong, you know. So it's just trying to find out what would give you renewed enthusiasm and joy and energy for your business, or is it too late for that, do you think?
Oh no,
Oh,
no,
good.
it's not too late for it. It's
Never too late.
No.
Well, okay, so who works in your business? Sorry, were you going to ask me something then?
No, I was just going to tell you something, but I can tell you that later. I've got my partner who works with us, Kevin. I've got one member of staff and a volunteer.
Wendy plus one full-time member of staff.
Yeah.
And a volunteer.
Yeah, who comes in, well, more or less full-time every day.
And why do they volunteer?
I think she was at her lost end, you know. She comes in, I pay her a little bit, you know, where I can, but we want enough money coming in, Nicola, so we can get more staff in and pay more people. We've got a better turnover, you know.
It's a circle of life, isn't it, really? Okay, so your goal for this session is to get some inspiration, get some energy, get some ideas, and decide if you want to work with me going on basis.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So your website's gorgeous. Is the cafe gorgeous?
Yes. Go on and have a look. Have a look. That's exactly the way it is.
You've got a gallery on your website, haven't you? Let's share my screen so everyone can have a look. Yeah, if we decide to share this. Okay, let's move.
There's a virtual on there as well.
Let's move that out of the way. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so my first impression when I first arrived was that I didn't know what it was. So I think you need a subline there. Come and join us at Wendy's place. Great. Food, awesome looking. Look at it. And the call to action is to view the menu. But I think you need just a little subline or something underneath, perhaps, which is city centre cafe established, blah, all home cooked food. I'm
going to write that down because I've got somebody who works.
Don't worry, because I'm gonna let you have the recording. So don't worry about writing things down now. Just enjoy yourself and see if anything sparks off on you. And then when I scroll down, now I haven't had a look at it on a mobile yet, but I'm sure it looks absolutely gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with this website at all. Is it hosted on what, Squarespace or something?
Sorry, there was just somebody at the door there.
That's all right.
These are all photos from way back, but it's more or less the same, you know.
Yeah. What is the decor the same?
Yes, the decor's still the same.
Green. So you've branded it, and it does look absolutely gorgeous. The decor looks fantastic. What's it? Let's go down the front here. I love the way you can go inside the cafe with Google, whatever it's called. Okay, so you've got your little sort of side sections here. Is there an upstairs or a downstairs?
Oh, it's just a down.
Okay, and what happens downstairs?
Well, the upstairs used to be belonged to the old landlord who I signed the lease with, but he sold it last year to a famous ex-footballer. Okay. Now they've just come in, his agent, and said, "Look, Wendy, get all your stuff from upstairs that you've been storing, because we want to renovate it." And I says, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" And they said, "Well, we're not sure yet. We're thinking of turning it into something." So I suggested, well, why not turn it into a B&B and I'll run it for you. Okay. And he said, well, you'll have to speak to my agent about that on Friday. But I think they've got plans for something else, you know what I mean? That's a nice entrepreneurial thought, though, wasn't it? Very good. I'll get straight in there and ask, you know what I mean, Nicola? Yeah. Well, absolutely. If you don't ask, you're never gonna get, as my mother would say. Well, okay, this is awesome. So do you ever do anything in the evenings in here, or is it, do you ever let it out for events or anything like that? No, we've got an alcohol license as well. Okay, right. Okay. Have you ever thought of doing allowing other restaurants to do pop-up shops, like people are in food trucks now that might want to come in and do like 3 nights a week? I know there's one coming on Saturday to the city, and it comes every 6 months, I think. It's like a food festival where they do different types of food from around the world. Right. Can you either go yourself or get someone else to go and get cards from every single truck, and then contact them all and say, have you been looking for a pop-up restaurant in the city centre? I think it's designed for that street alone, because the the council organises it for them to come in. I mean, it's a quiet street, like I don't know why they go there, but it gets
No, you're missing what I'm saying. What we're looking for is someone who's got a van right at the moment, who's going around the country, doing these food festivals, and who is looking for the opportunity to set up, not take on a full restaurant, but who's looking for the opportunity to take over somewhere like your place, say 1 or 3 evenings a week or whatever, who pay you rent, and they would just use your place as a restaurant, and bring all the food in that they'd cook in their van. So they wouldn't be using your facilities necessarily to cook. They'd literally just renting the place off you to have a pop-up restaurant in the city centre.
I've never really thought about that, to be honest with you.
It's a brilliant source of income. You don't have to do any extra work. It gives someone who's getting on, who wants to move from a van to a restaurant, an interim thing. And it could definitely become, you could even have a different one every night.
No,
it would all depend, obviously, on them leaving it as pristine as they found it. But there's no reason why you couldn't do that. I mean, what time do you close?
4:30.
4:30. Well, you go plenty of time for them to set up for a 7 o'clock opening.
Aye.
Okay. Right, that's just one idea that occurs just looking at the place. The other thing I noticed immediately is your social media is a bit tragic. You need to be on Instagram.
Aye. We are. We are on Instagram.
Are you? Where? Why isn't it at the bottom of your website then?
I don't know. Oh, well, they only deal with Google.
Yeah, look, only Facebook. And these icons need to be at the top of the website, not the bottom. Literally, you've got some empty space here where they would fit perfectly.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Let's look at your Instagram then.
The thing is, they don't deal with Facebook or Instagram, because that's from a previous social media marketing company I used to deal with. But things went wrong, and I basically just left them and went with another company. But now this other company only does Google.
Right, you need to think differently about this. You need to find someone who's on the media course at the local college. Sunderland's probably got a university, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
And they'll have a media course, and they'll have someone in that media course who is desperate to get a portfolio of work for clients, but who will be dirt cheap in the meantime. And you want them to run your Instagram and your Facebook and possibly Twitter as well. I would say just stick with Instagram and Facebook to start with, because all you need is to send them pictures of your food as you're cooking it, or as it's coming out of the oven and it's sitting there steaming, like your steak pie was. Oh my God, that made me so hungry instantly. And that's what they'll do, and you can pay them, however. If you think to yourself, how long does it take me to put a photo or a short video on Instagram with hashtags and a very short description? It doesn't take long. If you can do 3 of those, that's under an hour's work a day. So you could pay someone an hour a day at £10 an hour, or whatever the minimum wage is that they would earn working in McDonald's or a pub, and they would be getting stuff for their portfolio. You'd be getting daily Instagram pictures and stuff. All you'd have to do is supply the pictures or the videos to them.
Funny enough, like, there was a guy who approached us at one point and asked if he could do that. Now, he was a guy who, after lockdown, was given to us by a company called Stint. And what they did was they gave us, for the first 3 months, I think, free staff for to help them, like students that will come in for over the busy lunchtime period, like for 2 hours or so.
And you need to make yourself an Instagram destination, and you're halfway there with your decor. But you need it to become trendy, a trendy place to go, and that can only be done on Instagram.
Right.
If you look at, I've got a couple of resources to show you, but that's what you're really missing, is the Instagram factor, I think, and it needs to be at least daily, and it's easy. It's just pictures of food. How hard can it be? If you have a look at a friend of mine who is Peter, he runs the Beach Deli, and if you go to Instagram.com/Beach Deli, don't bother writing it down because we're recording. You'll see how well he does this. He's also followed by all the local people, and they know that he's the person to go to if they get an inquiry about outside catering, because he does some really good outside catering as well as having his little deli. And you can see he supplies really basic stuff. It's cheese and biscuits, quiches. He does a great Scotch pie. He does pies. He does sandwiches and stuff for outside catering. And, you know, you can see it's nothing out of the ordinary or unusual, but everybody around here knows that if you want a decently priced outside catering for a meeting, then Pete's your bloke. Now, you might not be wanting to do that, but you can see that he's putting up soup of the day. He's putting up pictures of his food all the time. He's saying things like, you know, what the weather's like in Shoreham. We're open, just dodge the raindrops. You know, he's doing a really good job here. And that's something that could be done by your little person who's getting a bit of social media experience locally.
They don't have to be with us either on site, do they, to do it?
No, they don't.
Apart from getting
you just send them pictures of what you're making in the morning. I mean, I don't, you know,
and then you can put it all on.
The more the better with Instagram, really. But you've got to have the right hashtags. So if they're doing the media course, then they'll probably be, you know, he specializes in soup. Look, his soup looks great. It's all good stuff, you see, and it's easy because when I talk to people about social media content, the biggest problem I have is people who are not creating any content. But you're creating content just by cooking. Yeah,
and we're putting it on Google. You know, like the pictures, uploading them onto Google.
Well, yeah, but what do you mean when you say you're putting it onto Google?
Google My Business.
Yeah, but being listed on Google My Business is a passive thing. I'm listed on Google My Business. I have been for 20 years since they started it. I've never had a customer from it yet. You need to be active at pushing your content out, and your content is pictures of your gorgeous food. That's all you need to think about. Then later on, once you've got more people coming in, I would suggest doing what Pete did when he first opened Beach Deli, which was he happened to hire my daughter because she's a videographer, but you'd find someone local, again, someone on the video course at the local university or polytechnic. And he got her to film him. I'll show you how it film him. How to make his famous Scotch eggs.
Oh, that's good, like.
So he's giving the recipe. He's making everyone want to eat his Scotch eggs.
Yeah, they're lovely then.
That was for his catering business, but she spent the day there and did loads of stuff for him, and it worked really well for him because he put it on all social media. They're just little short videos. The other thing to look at is Rossi ice cream. Now, I follow an entrepreneur called James Sinclair, who's based in Essex, and he's just bought Rossi ice cream, the manufacturers, and it's a 100-year-old business, but it's got some cafes included in the deal. So he now has got the job of making his cafes and is, you know, making the restaurants that serve Rossi ice cream. Really, he's pushing the brand. He's pushing the 100 years old. It's an Italian brand. It's delicious. But he's also trying to make all of the people, all of the restaurants that he now owns, Instagram destinations. There you go. There's one. And watching what he's doing, you know, the fact that he's building the brand of the ice cream and the venues, but he's also, you know, making an Instagram destination. So he'll do special events like at Christmas and you know, big times like that, Easter, where he puts up a sort of thing outside or inside, and people can, you know, like, have you ever been to the Ivy restaurant? There's a restaurant down here called the Ivy in London and Brighton and various other places.
No, I haven't.
What they do is they've made their entrance Instagram photograph friendly. So when you go to their restaurant, you just want to get a picture of yourself and put it on Instagram because the entrance is so wonderful. And it doesn't have to be beautiful. It can be quirky, it can be fun, but basically everybody starts sharing the pictures of themselves inside your place, outside your place. That's the kind of thing you've got to bear in mind and make your brand. Because Wendy's place, you know, you could have a special day. If your name's Wendy, you get a free blah.
Aye. That's a good little gimmick. Aye.
Yeah. And the other thing one of our local restaurants does, the Tap House, is they'll pick a street in Shoreham, and if it's your street that night, then all you've got to do is go down there and take something that proves you live there, and they'll give you a free drink.
Aye, aye.
or they'll
That's
give
it.
you 20% off.
See, I'm not really familiar with Instagram, even though we have got an account, but
Yeah.
it's
You
just
need,
really getting
it's
with
what
it,
the,
isn't it?
it's what the youth use. That's all they use nowadays, really.
Oh, they don't even get on Facebook, do they?
No, they don't. And not even old people are on Facebook anymore, because I'm old and I'm not on Facebook anymore. But, the thing is, once you've got a bit of content, it can be shared to Facebook, it can be shared to Twitter as easily. It'll take, literally to do one piece of content per day, 3 places will take less than an hour.
Well, we've got a full coverage coming soon.
What?
A feature from the Sunderland Echo,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're doing a video of us because
Great. Well, that'll give you something to share.
coming soon. There's going to be a big write up about us. You know what I mean?
Good. Well, all of this stuff, you need to get your marketing act together, really, because that's going to be an opportunity to really bring people in. And tell people about your special features you're doing, and but you've got to get someone on Instagram doing this stuff for you daily, and I think a student's your best bet.
I know the perfect lad who can do this for us.
Okay, cool.
I don't know what he'll want, like a month for it, but
literally, it's if he's starting out in business, is he starting out or is he established?
No, he's a student. He's filming.
Okay, well, there you go. He's if he went and got a job, he'd be earning X amount, wouldn't he? So why don't you offer him just like a couple of quid over X amount, and tell him, these are the outcomes I want, and I want to, and we'll agree together that we'll set targets every month for what we want, how many followers we want to gain, how many. He's got no control over likes or retweets or anything, but if you give him good content, there's no reason why he can't. If you just say we want to increase our follower count by, I don't know, 20% a month or something, give him something concrete, because otherwise he'll just waffle and say that he's doing his best. And if you need to keep him focused on what's going to make the difference, which is growing your follower count. Yeah. And he needs to do research on the hashtags and see what everyone else locally is using. So if I go back, that's not that hard. If I go back to, let me show you at Beach Deli, you can see that he's using hashtags, and he's also being followed by local places. So that would be the first thing that your chap should do. He should follow all the local places that everyone who's between the age of 18 and 50 or 60 even, think of, just literally brainstorm a list of places and then go and follow all those places on Instagram, and then they'll follow back. And the other thing is he can be looking and seeing what those other places are doing for their social media. So Tap House Shoreham are really good on their social media. So find out the people local to you that are really good on social media. I mean, look at this. They put pictures of their food. It's only around the corner. It makes you want to get up and go round there.
It does, doesn't it?
The other thing they do is they feature dog of the day. So now, obviously, I don't know if you're dog friendly or not, but if you are dog,
we are.
Well, any dog that walks through that door should be appearing on your Instagram account.
Take a photograph of. Oh, that's a good idea. Right.
The thing is, once you get started and you train your brain, or not you necessarily, but this other person, and you train your brain to think content. What could I share that? Would that make a great picture? I mean, some of this food's amazing. People coming in, local celebrities, definitely capturing people like that. But you need to get it up and running before this feature, because if people go to your Instagram account after seeing your feature and there's like, you haven't posted since last April,
then the thing. Well, that's us exactly.
and everything's designed to bring in new people to your cafe and make it a busy, happy place, that where the takings are up and you're happier and you can start planning for the future, because you've got a bit of faith that the money's going to keep coming.
Well, that's what we need, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And to be honest with you, though, the things that you suggested, it's like, bloody hell, that's good. I think I'm just in a rut with myself where I haven't thought.
Of course you are. You're ground down by the day-to-day of it.
And it does, it gets you down, man. You burn out.
Yeah, you think, do.
What the hell am I doing all this for? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the alternative is unthinkable, which is that you go and get a job, and you've got a lovely place there. Why would you want to do that?
I know. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. And the thing is, a busy, thriving city centre cafe that's got good social media, bringing people in. It'll make it easier to sell if you wanted to.
No, you would. More sales means more,
It does.
more
Turnover, more profit.
Uh-huh.
If we do go on to work together, we can get into all of that in a lot more detail. But it would be a great project, and I'm going to tell my friend Irene about you as well. So that's one more customer you'll have.
Oh, lovely. Irene, I'll look out for her.
Irene, she is. I'll tell her to come in and say she's Nicola's friend.
We get all of the older ones in because of the food that we do, Nicola, like all the homemade pies and the broths. We do ham broth and that. And,
nice.
But
I mean, there's two angles there. There's the fact that you're making everything in house, which is, you've got to stress. We know every single ingredient that goes into our food, and there is no, people. I'm getting really concerned about this whole thing about people adding insects to our food.
Yeah, I know.
And you could even make a joke of that. Say it's an insect-free zone.
But is there enough people awake yet to hear about?
I imagine there are. There you'll find a lot. In fact, that you'll make a community of people who are awake if you start saying things like that, because they'll know what you're talking about.
Exactly, and the other people will be scratching their head.
Let's just recap. So you're going to have a look at Beach Deli. You're going to have a look at all the places locally and see who's doing good social media. It can look. There's a picture of a gin and tonic, for heaven's sake. I mean, how hard is that? No. But someone in your place is going to have to be responsible for taking these pictures and getting them to this social media person, because they can't work miracles if they haven't got the content. But
you'll have to be on the iPhone, and I'll send them all over to them on WhatsApp. And
eventually, you might end up getting into it yourself, or your partner might. It's just, it's just good to. Someone's got to be definitely doing it. That's the key.
I constantly. People are mad about pictures and that now, mind, aren't they? That's the way I think.
And that's what I mean. Look at it. Roast dinner. We're trying all the local places for roast dinner. Do you have any iconic dishes that you're famous for? Your mince pie definitely should be one of them, because that looked great.
Oh, well, we are. We're famous for our pies for sure. We do famous. Well, everything. That's the key thing, though. Everything's homemade, and they absolutely rave on about it all. But it's the people that are not actually on social media who are raving on. And I always say to them, leave us a little review. Oh, well, I'll get my grandson to do it. And I've had some good reviews. If you go into Google, you can see them.
Yeah, but I don't see. Nobody trusts reviews, because you can pay people to go and do good reviews. What you can't do is pay people to cook fantastic food in your restaurant and share it. Because you are doing that, and it is home cooked food, and there are no insects in it, and it's so think about if you could have three iconic items. Your pies, we're famous for our pies. I mean, that could be your strapline on that top bit of your website.
Yeah, that's
a fantastic strapline. We're famous for our pies. I mean, how much better can you get than that?
We do our own burgers. We've got pizzas that we don't really use the pizza oven because there's no demand for it. No. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another thing. You could have a pizza night.
We've got a smoker that's not installed, but I'd love to have it installed.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you're going to be able to do all of this once you get the place onto a sound financial footing and your energy enthusiasm back, because you're not working every hour that God sends. You're actually, what we need to do is get you out of the cooking bit and get you into being the business manager bit. But make sure that people follow, do it to your specifications. You could be selling a recipe book. Yeah. I mean, really, don't get me started, because I'll overwhelm you with ideas. What we've got to do is hone down the things that are going to make the biggest difference the fastest, and get that going, because the more people that come into that cafe, the better it will be for you financially, and then that will give you the time to get some staff in, and once they're trained up to do it your way, then you can be then focusing on what needs to be done to market the place better, but not necessarily think along the lines of you doing the work in the marketing. But what you don't want to be doing is hiring a local expensive social media firm when you can be achieving the same ends with cheap students who are desperate for the chance.
I know, and he's good as well. He's always
Yeah.
uploading stuff of
Well,
himself. And
give
he's
him a
got
call the minute we get off the phone and say, I'm looking for someone to do daily social media on Instagram primarily, but sharing onto Twitter and Facebook. And if I supply the pictures, are you up for it? An hour a day, X amount.
That should get us going a little bit, shouldn't it?
It should. I mean, you know, for a very small investment, it's gonna make a huge difference. Especially if he uses the right hashtags for your area, and you know, really does.
Is it on Instagram?
You're allowed to use up to 20. Is it 30 hashtags for every post? But you don't.
I didn't know what that means. I mean, I know hashtags, but I don't know how that would work in with. I don't know what that means.
It means your picture's going to get shown. So, for example, if I click on roast potatoes as a hashtag, it's going to take me to the front of Instagram where everybody who's sharing fantastic roast potatoes is listed. So it means your content gets shared further. That's not a roast potato. Look at that. That's a curry if ever I've seen one. Anyway, don't get distracted, Nicola. So Wendy, I hope this has been good for you. I'm going to put the video up on YouTube and let you watch it back again. And if you're happy, I'd love to share it on my channel. But you don't have to make your mind up yet. Just I'll email you afterwards, and I'll also email you a link to become a member of the Clicks and Leads Academy, which is where we can have much more contact and you know, weekly get-togethers on Zoom and all that stuff.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
That's brilliant. Okay. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you, and lovely to know what you look like after our email exchanges.
Same here.
And I hope I cheered you up a bit. See you later.
All right. Bye.
So wasn't that great? I mean, I was nearly ready to buy the place myself by the end of it. It was such a great little business, and really could have so much more potential, as I hope you'll see. What I tried to do was not overwhelm Wendy in the actual discussion, but just give her some 2 or 3 really concrete things she could go away and do to make herself feel that the business is worth putting a lot more effort into, and that it can make her a lot more money, and just easy things she can do to go away and do that without her having to work any harder, because there's no point in her working harder, because that'll take away more energy from being the business owner. Now, I really got to recommend 2 amazing books here. One is the E-Myth Revisited, What Small Businesses Do, Why Small Businesses Fail and What You Can Do About It. And that's by Michael Gerber, Gerber. And what Wendy will love about that book most of all, and I'm sure it's on audio as well, is that it's about a lady who runs a cafe and a pie shop, in fact. So I think she'll be able to relate to the book very well. The other one that's really good and that I really liked is the E-Myth Manager. And what the E-Myth Manager does is it goes deeper into the concept of creating how we do it here manual, and about how to recruit the right people for the job, and then how to manage people without standing over them all the time, making them feel like you're micromanaging, and indeed how to give people responsibility and to get them to care. They're never going to care about your business as much as you do, but there are things you can do to make sure they care about their job a lot. And I put all that into practice when I bought my hotel. I had run a hotel before, a small hotel in Hove, but when I bought my hotel in Worthing and did it up in 12 weeks flat and got it on the onto the summer market in Worthing in 2003, I ran it entirely on E-Myth principles, and I have to tell you, it worked really, really well. Wendy, get those books, listen to them, read them if you like reading. I mean, I probably can't keep your eyes open at night, but find a way to devour those books, and I think they'll help enormously. And I hope we're going to be talking again. Just got some more marketing ideas for you. I just wanted to run through a list that I drew up after we talked. The other thing that I thought about was finding people who run quiz nights, or finding people who run poker nights, or finding people who run live music nights. Any of those 3 kinds of people would be looking for a venue, perhaps, where they could bring, I mean, they don't even need to buy your booze, although that would be helpful if they could. But you know, it would be a great little venue for that kind of event. We didn't really discuss online ordering, whether you could get yourself an app or get yourself one of the delivery services. I think particularly that would be great for lunchtime, so that people could just come in and pick up their takeaways without actually having to stop and eat in your place, which would increase the turnover for sure. And obviously you might have to hire someone just for the lunchtime period to come and help out with getting those orders ready and making sure they're ready when people come in, and doing the customer service when people do come in. Wondered if you'd considered a delivery option, whether you'd actually considered hiring someone to come and do deliveries to local offices nearby. Then that would be a way of actually increasing the revenue again, and getting sort of sandwiches and hot dinners delivered. And the other thing, the easy way to find out if that's a goer is to contact the personnel managers of local big firms in a sort of 1 mile radius around you. It doesn't have to be delivery for miles, it could just be literally delivery to local offices. Again, you're going to need some help with that, because just to interject here, when you're thinking up ideas for your business, how to make more money, and you're exhausted, it can actually feel like you hear it as, I'm going to have to do that, I'm going to have to do that, I'm going to have to do more. But you really have to think along the lines of, who can I get to help me with that? And if you're going to be making extra money, you need to decide how much of the extra money you're willing to put aside to have someone help you with that. And that is really important. So none of these things I'm suggesting means that you have to do it. Okay, Wendy? Now, we did talk about special promotions. We talked about Wendy Wednesdays and Wendy weekends. And I also just wondered if you were running any kind of loyalty card scheme, because that's really very powerful and it's easily done. You just need to get little cards done where you can stamp when people pays. I mean, you can decide what you're willing to give away for, once someone's had sort of 10 meals in your place or 12 meals in your place, are you willing to give away a whole free meal, or is it going to be a bottle of wine or 2 beers or whatever? Just work out what you're willing to do. But loyalty schemes are very powerful. They've got to be made easy for you to run though as well. The other thing is to take a leaf out of McDonald's books and train the staff, i.e. you, your partner and the other member of staff, to just offer an upsell. So, in McDonald's they say, would you like fries with that? You've got to make sure that you're in the habit of always saying, would you like a drink with that? Or would you like some pudding now? That's the main thing. People are often embarrassed to ask for the pudding menu. Not my family, that's for sure, but see someone who's just finished their meal and just take it. Would you like the pudding menu, or would you like coffee now? Just a gentle little upsell for what you think they might need next. The other idea, of course, is to think about how loyal your customers are and whether they might like to buy a mug or a tea towel or anything like that. You can get those things made quite easily, and it might be a nice thing to do if you do have some really regular customers. They might enjoy that kind of. And there's a really good markup on merchandise as well. The other thing to do is to think about your local area and work out whether you could be inexpensively sponsoring things. So, for example, often with the Chamber of Commerce, you could sponsor one of their meetings by supplying the food and drinks for the meeting. It doesn't have to involve a monetary sponsorship. Often it can be just by lending your venue or contributing some refreshments. Now, one of the suggestions I came up with for another venue that I was talking to like this was how to expand their menu so that they were offering a wider range. In your case, I think you might want to consider reducing the menu, because I noticed that there were an awful lot of choices on your menu, and where people get confused and don't know what to choose, they often don't choose. That's probably not relevant for the people who actually come and sit in your shop to eat, but if you're doing anything like delivery menus, for example, or creating food for local meetings or whatever we've discussed, then the thing to do would be to reduce your menu dramatically. So really make sure that you can deliver a limited number of things really, really well. So I hope some of those suggestions will be put on your waiting list until you've actioned some of the things that we talked about, because I really did give you the things that I think you should focus on first. And I really hope that anyone else watching this video who's got a retail sort of establishment or a restaurant or a cafe, do feel free to ask any questions below. I love to get comments and I reply to every comment individually. So please do tell me what you think of this and pop it in the comments below, and I really look forward to seeing them. So thank you, Wendy, for being such a good sport. And if you'd like your business to have a 15-minute marketing makeover, then just come over to nicolacairncross.com and click the envelope to make contact with me. I'll speak to you tomorrow.